You've probably heard this one before.
Tariffs.
Tariffs.
Tariffs raise prices on imports. The government adds a tax on imported goods, and companies pass those fees to us, the consumers. But here's what's less obvious, but also important to the conversation. Tariffs can also raise prices on domestically produced goods. And it's not simply greedy corporations taking advantage of you, but part of basic supply and demand economics. Let me explain. When the US places a tariff on imported wine, let's say from France or Italy, those wines become more expensive. So what do people do? Well, they may do the more patriotic thing and buy more local wine. So the demand shifts from overseas importers to domestic wine producers, such as those in California. And this may be a win for wineries in Napa, Sonoma, and other places. But there's something a lot of people miss. Expanding production isn't simple, it's not immediate, and it's also not cheap. California wine producers now need to quickly find more land, more labor, and more equipment to expand production. But land is a fixed resource, and much of it is already in use in wine country, and it's already quite expensive. And some of this land might be better suited for almonds or tomatoes, artisanal cheese, honey, or housing, which is a little hard to come by in California. But to expand production, wineries have to compete with all of these industries. Either they'll find land less suitable for wine production or end up paying higher prices for the good land to outbid the competition. Either way, costs of production are going to go up. Increased demand is competing for a fixed supply. In the same way increased minimum wage laws often lead to higher prices at the fast food joint, the increased cost of production for wine producers get transferred to the consumer. This is how prices rise. But it doesn't just affect the wine prices. It also comes at a cost to the other industries in the area. When wine production increases, something else gets crowded out. We don't often see the unseen costs of economic interventions. Land that is being used to grow grapes for wine is not being used for something else. We may lose some almonds or cheese or housing in the process of this expanding wine production. This is called an opportunity cost. It's a core economic concept. When the supply of these goods fall, their prices also rise. So now that we understand how tariffs affect local goods, let's talk about why people trade in the first place. Imagine a small village. John is the local butcher and spends his days raising cattle and selling meat to the town. He doesn't have the time or the land to grow his own vegetables or make his own clothes, so he uses the profits from his meat business to buy those things from other villagers. Because the villagers can trade with each other, everyone is better off than they would be trying to do everything themselves. Industries around the world work in a similar way. Japan makes reliable and affordable cars, while the US exports entertainment and new software. And even within one industry, such as wine, trade opens up a world of variety and specialization. France produces some of the best wines in the world, like the red blends from Bordeaux or the champagne from Champagne, while our California wine regions produce wonderful Zinfandels, Sauvignon Blancs, and Cabernet Sauvignons, just to name a few. So we specialize, we trade, and we all win. Tariffs stifle our ability to enjoy this variety and specialization, and we end up sacrificing resources that could have gone into making other things. This means less total production, not more. We get an increased amount of American wine, sure, but we lose the tomatoes, housing, almonds, or whatever else these resources would have gone to. We lose options and we lose wealth. Tariffs do not grow the overall economic pie. They just shuffle around the slices, usually losing a few pieces in the process. Sure, some domestic producers might win in the short term, but consumers pay more. And of course, it should go without saying that producers are also consumers. They deal with the negative consequences of tariffs as well. Tariffs are essentially a tax at the checkout counter. They raise your cost and reduce choices, and that's true even for American-made products. This video was based on an article called "Why Do Domestic Prices Rise with Tariffs" by Alex Tabarrok. You can read that and more on fee.org. Link in the description box below, and check back for more Fee Explains, where we demystify fallacies, misconceptions, and myths of modern economics. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and leave us a comment. See you next time.